in this space, we have over 6,000 enterprise software applications across ABB that we sell to our customers today, of which over 200 are in the ABB ability spaces, which is within my group. I'm in the process, if you've ever tried to sell 200 of anything, it can be. So right now what I'm going through is the process of taking that portfolio and really blending it into larger application stacks. So that way it's easy for our salespeople to talk to our customers about what it is we do, and it's easier for you as a customer to understand what it is that we're offering to you. But I think one of the reasons why I came to ABB and took on this challenge was because it's a unique proposition that we have here. Within ABB, we have brand recognition. We have the ability to reach out and talk to our customers and bring domain expertise on the electrical side, the automation side, and the digital side. And after starting up a software company from the ground up, the hardest thing to do is customer acquisition, to get that new customer. Here, our customers, you in the room, already love us, or you probably wouldn't be here. And so for now, I think what we need to do is help you understand what it is we do in the digital space, the offerings that we bring to bear. And then I think we could talk about what are some of the things that you'd like to hear from us more from a digital perspective. So with that. So as we think about digital, as I think about digital here at ABB, there's really 4 key areas that I focus on driving digital solutions. And then as I talked about those 200 solutions where I'm pulling them all together in these areas right here. And so it's really around productivity. How do we maximize what it is that you make? How do we maximize your production? It's around performance. How does the performance of your assets, how is that impacting your business? Do you have good visibility of your asset and how it's performing? So it's helping you get an understanding of that. It's around sustainability. And it's really around, for us, it's around two components: energy reduction in what we do, and around CO2 intensity and helping you reduce your footprint. And then it's around cybersecurity. As we know, as we bring solutions to the table, it's my job and my team's job to make sure that you're as cyber secure as you can be. So that's our responsibility as well, and that's actually our largest business to date for a whole host of reasons. But cybersecurity is a huge focus for us here at ABB. But as you pull all of those things together, you'll hear a buzzword called autonomous. And autonomous, to really become an autonomous company, there's really 2 things that you have to do. You have to really drive towards integrated operations, because as you drive towards integrated operations, that's the vehicle, that's the first step in becoming autonomous. But what does integrated operations mean? As you think about your control system is running your process. And then you go one level up and you go up to your level 3 applications. And at the level 3 applications, that's where the real magic in your business begins to happen. Because at that level, that's where you're running your operation functions. That's where you're running your sustainability applications. That's where you're driving things like connected worker and asset performance. So these are where these applications that are providing higher value to your DCS system or your control system, this is where all of this comes together. But now, as we think about what our customers are asking us for, it's really starting to pivot, because a lot of times, is it okay if I talk without a mic? Can you hear me in the back? Yeah, because it's trying to find the right distance. It's not fun. Okay, so I'll speak loud. So it's, as we look to pull these applications together, what our customers are often doing, they're bringing us use cases, and those use cases provide more than one need for a different type of solution within our company. And so a lot of times the customer will come and they'll say, I've got a use case, but it's got a little bit of asset performance, it's got a little bit of sustainability, it's got a little bit of MOM. A good example could be that you're looking at your whole sustainability program. There's some things you need to do on the batch management side to improve your sustainable footprint. There's some things you need to do from a power management perspective from a sustainability footprint. And there's some things you need to deal with on the rotating asset side of your business. But you don't want your teams having to jump between 3 applications to manage this for your business. And so one of the biggest things I'm changing at ABB right now is I'm moving us, and really don't need to know this, but I'll tell you, we're moving to microservices. And so all of our softwares will be now microservices based. What does that mean for you? What's the value of that to you? So now you can take pieces and parts of any of our applications, we can pull it together for you, and for you, it looks like one application. But under the glass, you're actually moving between the batch application, you're moving through to the sustainability application, you're moving to the asset performance application, and to you it's seamless. You have no idea that you're moving between all 3 of these applications, but on the inside you're seamlessly moving between all of them. So I think that's a real change that we're starting to implement now, because our customers, all of us know you don't want to have to go to Excel for one thing, then PowerPoint for another thing, and then Word for something else. You want to be able to seamlessly move through those platforms and not even know that you're moving through it, and then being able to provide that value to your business that you're wanting to deliver by using those applications. So that's where we're going from a technology perspective. But everything comes up to this application layer, and then it feeds back down to the control layer. And that's the direction that we're headed. And so as you move towards autonomous, as you look at your process and you move to through your process, you have to extract, then you have to do something with that data, then you'll run it through an application that provides analytics, machine learning, AI, etc. And then where we're moving towards more is that then the application itself takes action on the process. So you no longer have to interface with that application going forward. The application begins to optimize itself. Now, and there's some situations where customers said we're not comfortable with the application taking over yet. We still want someone to be there to check and make sure it's right. You can still run it through the people process, and then once they approve, and then once the system sees that they're continually making the same recommendation, the system will then begin to take over with your approval to handle that process and that synchronization loop on its own. Next. So now, what are the applications that we're going to do, that we're doing this with? What is the technology that we're providing you with? So here, I'll start with asset performance. So as you think about, and I'll talk a little bit more about asset performance, this is all of your equipment asset. How are those assets performing for you? So when you think about electrical assets, rotating asset, sensor assets, those are the types of assets that we're looking at monitoring for you and helping you get a better picture of. Then as you look at on the process performance side, it's all around, this is where our simulation technology comes in. So as you're thinking about moving to a new product, as you're thinking about implementing different aspects of feedstock into your process, how is that going to affect your process? How is that going to change the way you run your business, you run your control system? We're able to help provide simulation solutions for you so you can begin to understand as you make changes to your business, what those unintended consequences are and what are the new outcomes that you can expect from making those changes. Then as we look at operational excellence, this is where, this is our mom area, and a lot of people here use our batch products. So this is where the batch products sit within our portfolio. The real thing here I'd be interested in hearing about is, I know a lot of customers love our batch technology. My big question that I always have for that team is, what are our customers needing us to do next? Where do they want us to take this technology? Where do they want us to integrate left and right as we begin to think about our batch technologies? Where can we provide that higher value to our customers beyond just the batch application itself? With Batch Insight, we're doing a lot around machine learning and advanced analytics in that space. So we're providing that capabilities and we're providing those dashboards as well. But where's the next thing that you would like to see us from a batch perspective? So it'd be great during these working sessions to get some perspective from that aspect. And then as we think about energy management, and we're going to have a breakout session about that, and I'll talk about a little bit about that in the future. In a few minutes, excuse me, but the big thing about 3 years ago in the sustainability space, I would have said it was We've been in this business, sustainability business now for over 10 years now, and providing customer solutions. 3 years ago, I would have probably have called it a hobby, and what I mean by that is not very many customers were interested in the discussion. Fast forward to now, we cannot respond to customers fast enough in this space. So it's been a complete change in the way, my perspective on the sustainability suite of our solutions, and where the globe is wanting us to go, and customers are asking us to take this technology. So really interested in hearing about that. You'll see a demo and some other things during that breakout session on sustainability. I mentioned before about cybersecurity. I think we've done there, but on the 800XA software system sides, we're continuing to look at how do we add more applications native to the 800XA stack and provide things like 800XA batch, system monitoring, system performance, and those things as well. Those also sit with me also. Yes, sir.
Can I ask you something?
Please.
I think I don't need the microphone. I also try to speak loud. It's me again, Matthias. So this is really interesting for me, and I have a background in manufacturing, and I worked for quite some years in P&T, and we did sophisticated modeling work on production units. Mm-hmm. But since I'm in the loops business, I was wondering what kind of tools we actually have to model the processes we are operating now. And it's all batch, of course, mm-hmm. but we're operating the different processes simultaneously, and it's all about the identification of the bottlenecks. Mm-hmm. And it's not about the process itself, it's also about the associated steps to be considered before we, of course, can initiate the next batch. So it would be good, actually, to have a kind of tool which we can use to first to reflect the current as-is situation, mm-hmm. and then to identify the gaps on which we need to focus to optimize. What kind of support can we get from that direction?
Matthias, I think it's a very good question. We do have digital twin technology within ABB. Maybe that's an area in the batch space that we agree as a group that we explore a little bit further. We haven't built I'm just going to tell you, we haven't built a digital twin complete in this batch space as it is. What we have done is we built what I would call more of an operational digital twin with visualization and dashboards and analytics, those types of things. But a true digital twin to do simulations within that, we have not done. If that's an area that this group would like me to look at, yes, honestly, I'd be very open to that discussion and creating a working group around that to help give us some guidance on the R&D side of what that could look like.
Yeah, and Gino, to complete the picture, what you mentioned actually as of now with our process people from the designing space, what you mentioned about finding out the bottleneck, checking the availabilities or the occupational ratio of a line or a blender or dispersing unit. That's what our process team is doing at the initial stage. And then in operation with the dedicated paint cell or loop cell batch controller, that's also a piece that we look into. Maybe something you can discuss also during the day with Philippe Richie and his team about the scheduling aspect. Maybe that's something you are interested in.
Yes.
That's indeed a very high topic for you guys, and we understand this. So, like say by Gino, I mean, we are here to listen and we are willing to cooperate. So this kind of very specific topic, then for sure, let's group together, sit, brainstorm, and making happening for you to have it actually running on your plants.
A little bit about asset performance. One interesting note on the rotating equipment side. We manufacture some 2.5 million motors a year. So when customers talk to me about, do you know motors, my comment is, oh, do we know motors? We know it very extremely well, and we probably know motors better than anyone in the industry. So when it comes to looking at motors, modeling motors, understanding what the predictive characteristics are going to be of those assets, not only for motors but for pumps as well, we have a rich library of models on the asset performance side that we can bring to bear. And anyone that has tried this space knows that the biggest part of the problem, it's not the software, it's the models. And so the great thing with ABB is we have hundreds, if not thousands, of models in this space. Another area customers are getting us involved in on the asset performance side is on the electrical monitoring side as well. So monitoring power, power consumption, transformer performance, and circuit breakers and intelligent relays and those types of things. So when it comes to understanding what's going on with what's happening with the asset, what are the predictive failure of that asset, understanding that the current health of that asset and when that asset could potentially fail and how much time you have between now and when it will fail or need bearing replacement or need a circuit breaker replacement, we can help you understand that with our technology. So a lot of customers are beginning to look, and this is probably one of the faster growing parts of my business, is around the asset performance side, because customers are starting to understand that we are experts in this space just because of our history over 100 years in the electrical side and the motor side of the business. And now when we tie that with software and automation, we can do some very interesting things for our customer all around predictive maintenance, predictive health, risk assessment, risk analysis. Okay. We'll talk about this one a little bit later. And this is around our Optimax area. We do a lot in the energy management space, carbon track, carbon trace. So if you're trying to get, a lot of our customers that I'm talking to right now are trying to get an understanding of what is my sustainability, what's my CO2 footprint look like, what do I look like from a sustainability perspective. We have solutions that we can very quickly deploy that can help them determine what does their sustainability footprint look like as it is right now. And then what we can do is we can help them around modeling in terms of, okay, how are we going to become a better performer from a CO2 intensity perspective, from an energy consumption perspective. We have the ability to work with our customers with that as well. We can dashboard it all for you. We very quickly can bring data in. So a lot of customers are struggling with just how do I get started? This is the first step in how you get started and just getting the information so you know what your current situation looks like. And then once you have that in place, we can bring in optimization models that help you on both fronts, intensity and electrical usage. So from this area, and we'll take you through a demo. For those of you who are interested, we're going to have a demo and a little bit of a workshop later this evening.
Yes, sir, no.
That I think will be good for you, for those of you that are interested in this area. Next, please. So in closing, to try to help catch up a little bit, ABB, for those of you that know about ABB's performance, we had a great year and a great first quarter. When it comes to getting feedback on where we can invest, because we did so well, I have some options. And I'm just telling you the truth, I'd love to invest in this group and in this business. So if you tell me what some of the challenges are with you that you're facing, I'd be very open to looking at making some investments here with you. So by all means, help me understand where you want to take your business from a digital perspective and how we can help. And I'd love to have that conversation. With that, I'll turn it back over to Colin for a minute.
I have a question.
Please.
Would you go back to chart 8, I think it was? Right here, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I am now with Castrol. I'm a plant manager, right? It's kind of a two-part, maybe half for you and half for Ann. So I'm interested. I done some homework on the portfolio. I have a relationship. I trust ABB for, let's say, a decade. Where in this mosaic do I start? And my second part is, once I've started, are you helping me rebalance my sustainability metrics while we are developing the plan and installing the solutions? So maybe the first half is for you and the second half maybe is for Ann.
First half I'll take. A lot of times in this topic, in this the sustainability discussion, but I'll take it as usually a bigger digital discussion as well, because a lot of times where the customers are struggling to get started is, one, where do I get started? Two, what data sources do I need? And do I have access to those data sources, or do you need to help me get access to those data sources? So a lot of times we'll come in and we'll sit down and we'll have a digital workshop with the customer. And we'll help get from you, what I'm wanting to understand is where is it you need to go? What is the business challenge you need to face? How soon do you need to get there? And kind of where are you at today? And a lot of customers don't even know where they're at today. So we'll come in and we'll do a site assessment with them as well, so we can help them understand what types of systems, what kind of data, where the data is stored, what types of format, and how do you kind of, we call it contextualize, but how do you get all that data in a way that you can understand it? And then based on that, we then can look at, based on your feedback on where you want to go from a sustainability perspective, we can begin to put a dashboard in place, put systems in place that help you understand where you're at today. And then once we have that in place, it's very easy for us and for you to identify the low-hanging fruit. We were talking about last night, one of the customers was trying by 2025 reduce their power consumption by 25%. And so it's very easy to get an understanding of what we understand where you're at, and how do you get there real quick. Then we talked about, what was it, between 2025 and 2030, I think it was, they had to get to 45% reduction in carbon and energy. That's where it begins to get tough, because you have to then look for things that are a little bit harder to find.
That's exactly the response I would have given. So start monitoring and understand where your highest sources of energy, and this means that also emissions are. Start projecting then how much of this can be replaced with any available renewable input, of course, and then start looking for these places, where the outpost has what technology, what innovation is there to actually start changing this. So it's energy efficiency. It's really finding different ways of having solutions there. And then I would say, don't wait to then go outside of this box. So once you have done your own operations, your energy inflow, and this is mapped thanks to the offers that Gino has there, then I think the next hard part starts, as we heard before, start mapping your Scope 3. And I think that's where the Microsoft Cloud solution maybe comes in, or whatever we're using there. Because we had a brilliant example which we didn't talk before. If you don't look at your Scope 3 holistically from upstream to downstream, you might be sub-optimizing it. So I heard an example yesterday, which we didn't get to, where someone just mapped the upstream. So let me only look at the emissions on the upstream, map them. What you do is you tap into existing databases and multiply with your existing procurement spend, things like this. You have to start really simple if you're starting, and only then over time you crystallize it more, because if you use these general databases, it's average data, and you will not see really the impact of the improvements you're making. But this is where you start. Enough databases out there, happy to advise. And then if you only do this on the upstream, you might be doing something wrong. And I love the example, which is in the area of paint. If you only look at what are the ingredients for the paint, and this could be any other ingredient mix, that have the lowest emissions, you might optimize for this. But in the area of paint, what it might mean, the durability of your paint might be going down the drain. So you sub-optimize for the wrong thing, because then the longer the durability of this paint is, the lower emissions downstream you have there, because you don't have to replace it that often. And so this holistic picture, being obviously modeled in the right tool and then crystallized over time with the hybrid solution, which means you use databases for general emissions data when you start, but then you have a solution there, you bring more real data in from your customers, from your suppliers. That's the way to go.
Yeah, and this brings up another point. I think just like we have stringent accounting rules that we have to follow from an audit perspective, this is going to happen in this space. And so one of the big things I'm trying to get a handle on is, what is going to be our role, ABB's role in that. We know we'll have to play a role here. And so I met with an audit firm just to talk about this topic, because I know it's coming. How do I begin to start developing and put in the roadmap development in this space? Because one day you're going to be running audits in your departments in this space, and we need to be able to provide you reliable, trusted data that's accurate. So, very good point.